In this video, we're going to be swapping over our stock headlights to these projector CCFL LED headlights by Spyder Auto. Step 1 will be to remove the headlight. All you need to do is these two bolts, they're 10 millimeter. Alright, now those are removed. The next step is to remove the headlight, and this is kind of difficult because it's terrible fitment, so you have to kind of wiggle it out as best you can. Something that I found that helps is removing these two clips. You can use a cabin removal tool or whatever you want. Alright, so this is the back of the headlight. There's a few things we need to remove. First thing is this main bulb connector. Then you have your turn signal, your running light, and then this clip that holds on the harness. So that comes out like this. Just twist counterclockwise and then clockwise to resecure it. This one does the same thing, but you need some pliers to get in there. And then this clip, you just pry it off. You can use a whatever screwdriver or this. And don't crack your bulbs while you're banging them against your headlight. Okay, now this is the most difficult step for this installation, and that's to figure out how to get the LED or CCFL rings wired up into the stock harness. So I'll show what I did. So this is the back of the headlight. I got the CCFL rings, so they're a little different than the LED rings, but the concept is still the same. So you're gonna have a couple blacks and a couple reds and maybe a white. You're gonna wanna hook all the reds and whites together and all the blacks together. Now I just did this beforehand with one of these barrel connectors because I prefer them. And then you're gonna go to the stock harness and you're gonna figure out which one the running light is, or the park light. So I went and turned the headlights on, and we're gonna turn our voltmeter or multimeter into DC volts. Now I already know which one is the correct one to set it up, but in case you have a different car, different wiring harness, you're gonna wanna hook it up. The black wire is usually a ground, so just hook the black lead up to it, although it doesn't matter, it'll just reverse polarity. And then you're gonna test different things, and you can see on there we're getting a steady voltage around 12. However, if we do it onto the pink wire, it's not quite that. So we know that the black and the orange wires will give a constant power when the headlight is on. You can also test it up here if you could disconnect this if you want to do something different and hooking it up to here, although I'm just going to do the black and orange wires, black being negative, orange being positive. Alright, so this is the most nerve-wracking part of the installation. We're going to have to cut into the wiring harness, but I'm going to try to make this as clear as possible because I know it looks like a mess of wires. So, like I was saying, black goes to black. This red goes to the orange. Okay, first step to wiring is actually, in any instance, is to disconnect the battery, just in case. Avoid shocks and popping fuses. So I did that already. So you don't have to use this method that I'm doing. You can use a simpler quick connect and just crimp it onto this wire and then do another wire to here if you'd like. However, I don't have any, so I'm going to cut them in, connect them, and do it to here. So yep, we're gonna have to do it there. Oh shit, I did the wrong wire. Okay, so I may have made a mistake. I actually cut into a brown wire instead of the black wire. So we're just gonna we just connected them back together with some of these heat shrink barrel connectors, and ignore that part. All right, and now you can see what I mean. So I have the orange cut and twisted together. Same thing with the black, ignore that. That was just my own fault. So we're going to hook the red onto there, crimp it down, black onto the black, and crimp it down. Okay. And then give it a good pull, make sure that it's not going to come undone. All right, so now that the connections have been made, it's a good time to check if they're working. And they are. CCFLs are on and the LEDs are on as well. The next thing we're gonna do is use the heat gun and shrink down the tubing on there. Okay, now those are all heat shrinked together. It's time to worry about the actual light bulbs and plugging everything in. And it's important to note the distinction between the LEDs and the CCFLs. So the LEDs, you would actually have to remove the stock main bulb, the low beam and high beam, and plug it in to the new headlight in one of these spots. But this actually separates them. You plug this blue harness to the blue, and then see here you can remove those, and then you connect the turn signal and running light accordingly. Yeah. Okay, it's time to connect everything, and notice that I have a towel set down so I don't scratch the face of the thing. So, like I said, this connects to that. Then you can peel these off. Careful not to get any debris. The turn light goes into here. In some way, and then twists clockwise. It's pretty difficult, but as long as it's secure. And next we have this one, so we'll have to peel this off somehow. Okay, now these you have to be a little specific about. So I'm gonna put it in this way, so that way the wire it won't get crushed. Fits in there. and it turns counterclockwise into position. We can also use this on here so we get a little more leverage to twist it, although that's enough. So I also went ahead and just zip tied these together to neaten it up. And now it's time to reinstall. You may have also noticed that I didn't reattach this onto the headlight down there, onto there. And that's actually because it was hitting that and not allowing me to put it into place, and I just let it go free and tucked it actually underneath here, and hopefully it'll be fine. Force it in. That was a lot easier than the second time. So now that it's somewhat in position, you just want to make sure that these can get pushed into place. Really have to lift it from the bottom. And there it is. Ignore the glare, but that is an installed headlight. Alright, so that is how you install these projector headlights. But as you can see, it's got halogen bulbs in it right now. So that's the low beam and that's the high beam. It's very yellow, and that one is a little yellow too. So I think I might upgrade those to LEDs in the future. Since they're CCFLs, they don't have the stock 9007 connector. They're actually H1 bulbs, so I'll have to figure out something that'll fit. But I'll just stick with these for now. Hopefully they'll be bright enough. I might also do an LED turn signal, although I kind of like the way that looks with the exposed, yeah, the exposedness of it. But yeah, the COBALT looking cool now.